Not really. Not like personally.
Yes, my grandfather.
Yes. Who?
My mom. No, actually I haven't. Like, I know of people, but I don't, like, personally know them.
Do you know anyone who's had cancer?
Yeah, me. I went to school and did all my classes. Then after school got over, I would go to track and go home, do homework, just the life of a normal teenager. My mom and I went shopping on a Saturday, and in the middle of the shopping day, I realized that it was getting really hard to breathe because my stomach hurt so bad. And I asked my mom what side your appendix was on because I thought that it was appendicitis. And once it got bad enough that I couldn't even walk, then I realized that something was actually wrong. So we went to the urgent care and they said it was a ruptured appendix. And so we went to the hospital and it wasn't that. And so they had to do a ton of tests and they realized that I had a huge tumor. Well, with the tumor, they said that there was a 1% chance that it was malignant, and a couple days after they said that they would let us know, my mom got a phone call and went outside, and I went out there, and my whole family was out there crying, and that's when I realized I had cancer. My first thought was actually, will I still have my hair after it? And that was the very first question that I asked my parents. I didn't want people to know at all because I don't know, that's just, you don't want to be sick. Like, it's weird. Like, the main concern of mine was, am I gonna lose my hair? Because I didn't want other people to know that I was sick, because if I could keep it inside, then that would be a lot better than other people knowing that. I didn't have any energy at all, and so my schedule was pretty much just laying on the sofa or in the hospital, because over a third of the time during those months I was in the hospital, and for days after I would get back from the chemo, I would be way too sick to do anything. Like, I couldn't even watch TV because the noise would make me throw up. The school was actually really good with helping me through it because they got with the teachers and they said, has she done enough requirements to finish out the school year with the grade that she has right now? And a lot of my classes, the teachers did let me finish with that grade, and with the ones that didn't, they just gave me 1 or 2 tests to take at home with my notes, and that was the end of the year for me. The track season was over at that point because, well, first with the tumor taken out, it was too painful to move at all, and I just didn't have any energy because of the chemo, so I couldn't have run if I wanted to. I think everybody knows who I am now because they'll all talk to me in the hall, they'll smile at me and ask me how I'm doing, stuff like that. And then students, they're just not as mean as what they usually are. And I don't know, it's a lot better, I guess I could say. I really didn't have time to go anywhere to think. I guess the sofa, because I didn't have the energy to go anywhere. My family and John really helped me get through it because they were just so strong and did everything that they could to make sure I was happy. But I didn't really have any inspirations because I don't know anybody who's had cancer.
I think that we have all changed, and it was a very, very difficult time for us all. And I think that we came together as a family, not just our immediate family, but extended family, grandparents, Libby's aunts and uncles and cousins. We were there for her. We realized that you don't take things for granted. And things that we used to be so stressed about, we don't stress about things like that because we know that things change so fast and we appreciate each other so much more.
had to do 3 rounds of, it was bleomycin, cisplatin, and etoposide. And I would be in the hospital for a week, and then I'd go home, and the next week I'd have to come in for 1 day and get bleomycin. And then the third week I'd have to come in for 1 day and get bleomycin. And then the next week would be all 3 in the hospital for the week. And that just repeated. Like, it was 3 rounds of that.
I think we tried to be very supportive, and we tried to be there for her all through the hospital and all through the inpatient clinics that she had when she had to have her chemo, and just tried to reassure her that, you know, this was something that we were going to get through. Just stay very positive.
It took about 2 months because if my counts were too low, then they wouldn't give me the chemo. And so they would have to wait for my counts to come back up in order to give it to me. It was April, May, and June. It ended middle of June. There's a park that my grandma and I would go to and have lunch because she would stay with me while my mom was at work, and every time I see that, it reminds me of it. The smell, because they would use a flush to flush out the IV, and the smell of that would make me throw up every time. And so if I smell anything that smells even close to that, like hand sanitizer kind of smells like that, then I'll throw up. There are a lot of things that remind me of it. It's pretty much anything that I had while I was in the hospital will remind me. I wanted to do something to help give back to the hospital, and I knew how the patients and the family in the hospital felt, and it was really hard being in there. And so I started Bears for a Cure to try to help make it a little bit easier for those that are still going through it right now. Bears for a Cure is a club where we do stuff like make blankets, and we're trying to raise money for cancer research, and we just want to do anything we can to help make it easier for the families in the hospital. I definitely feel like a different person because I just feel so much stronger now, and I don't take anything for granted anymore because I realize it can be taken away in an instant, and everything just seems so small compared to that. Like, all the problems that I used to think were so big just don't seem important. I think it's actually a lot easier than what I used to think high school was, just because I've seen like a lot worse than what high school is, and so it's kind of nice to just have a routine again. I think the hardest part coming back was like seeing everybody, because I knew that most of them thought of me differently after that, and I just didn't want anyone to think of me differently. I wanted them to think of me the same as I was. Like, I was still the same person, and it's kind of sad seeing people's faces, and it's just like they pity you. At the beginning of the year, the lady at the clinic sent out an email to all the teachers, subs, custodians, everybody, and told them not to tell me to take my hat off because I had cancer. And so after that, they kind of all knew that I was going through that. I definitely feel stronger because, I mean, you kind of have to be strong to go through that and like survive. It's more than just a physical surviving with that. It's like you have to be emotionally just strong because it's so hard and puts such a stress on everything.
Olivia was so brave. She was so positive through it all. She, only a few times did she cry. She never asked, why did this happen to me? Because, you know, we all thought, well, why not? We're no different than anyone else, and this can happen to anybody. We just got chosen, and Olivia just kept her faith in God, and we prayed, and we knew that it was going to be okay.
I do look at things with a bigger respect now, because like right before I would go to the hospital, I would look around on the trip there, and everything seemed so much brighter. Like, the leaves on the trees would always be a lot greener than what they were before, and everything just seemed so much better. And that was kind of how I see things now, because I know that it's not good in some places. I feel like people definitely take things for advantage now because they haven't gone through something like that. And they're just so lucky to have everything that they have now, and they don't realize how lucky they really are. But, I mean, even if you don't go through something like that, you can still appreciate everything that you have because there are people out there that don't have the things that you do. Yep, I'm a survivor.